Hello and welcome to episode number 113 of the TEW Challenge Run. This is going to be Monday Night War for Monday, week 2, March 2021, and we are continuing the hot build to WrestleMania. We've got a stacked show tonight. Kevin Owens versus Christian, Otis versus Mustafa Ali unsanctioned, among other things. We're going to hear from Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. We're going to hear from John Cena and Randy Orton in a contract signing. And the semi-finals of the women's tournament will be occurring, among many other spicy things. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
In blood and tears, 1,000 times we rise against, we'll always hold the line of reckoning. Red tears run down like a river. Don't close your eyes, it won't disappear. Don't let go, don't back down, hold the line. We'll be the reckoning.
100. Both John Cena and Randy Orton have a hot catchphrase, apparently. And we started off with just the contract signing. Eve Torres is in here, and Stephanie McMahon is in here as well. And that's an important thing to note that Stephanie's here. And they introduce first the WWE Champion, Randy Orton. He comes out, he takes his seat. And then John Cena comes out. And he sits in his seat like, well, we got to make this quick because I haven't got the time. I've got movie shoots to get to and children to see. So let's make this quick. We all know this is happening. I won the Royal Rumble. So I don't understand why there's even a contract signing. Just because you want John Cena on a television show, because you want to get your ratings up heading into WrestleMania. It's just, yeah, it seems pretty rather counterproductive to me because I know that I'm going to win at WrestleMania and I'm going to become a 17-time world champion. So just hand me that pen and I'll sign this and I'll get back to doing what I want to be doing, okay? And Randy goes, look at this. Look, you're not fooling anybody, John. You're trying to keep up this charade that you're this great guy, but as I said last week, I can see through it because you are me. You have become Randy Orton, and quite frankly, you know that that isn't what you want to be because you were this genuine hero to everybody. And now you're using that to try and get ahead of the game. You cheated to win the Royal Rumble. You attacked me in the elimination. Again, I didn't have a problem with it because, hey, I'd have done the same thing to you many years ago, but just drop the bullshit, John, come on. Seems like I don't know what you're getting so touchy-feely for, Randy, because how many times have we done this now? And I know and you know the story of our careers. We know how this goes. You're going to talk a big game, but you're going to come up short against me, like you always do, and at WrestleMania, like you always do, because let's face the fact, Randy, we both debuted here 19 years ago, and you have yet to get that one WrestleMania. Sure, you've won championships at WrestleMania, but nobody remembers that. If I was to say, name Randy Orton's WrestleMania moment, you can't do that. If I was to say, name John Cena's WrestleMania moment, John Cena, I've beaten The Rock at WrestleMania. I've won my first World Championship at WrestleMania. I've main evented countless WrestleMania after WrestleMania after WrestleMania. I've got a backlog as long as my list of Make-A-Wish pledges. But I was to say name Randy Orton's, I mean, man, he won the WWE Championship one year. He was in the main event twice. He lost them both, but hey-ho. And you know that that's going to eat away at you, Randy, because you've always been in my shadow. And that's how it's going to stay. But from WrestleMania and beyond, because it's never Randy Orton and John Cena. It's John Cena and Randy Orton, because you're 1B to my 1A. Which is why I'm not stressed about this. I'll sign this contract. That's why I picked you in the first place, Randy, because I know I can beat you. You can't get the job done at WrestleMania, and you can't get the job done against me. And you're the easiest person for me to get my 17th World Championship against, because that would just be also poetic for me to do it against you, of all people. And that will be your WrestleMania moment for eternity. You'll be down, as I remember Randy Orton, his WrestleMania moment was when he got beat by John Cena, when John Cena made history in their first ever one-on-one encounter because he lost to John Cena because he stayed in John Cena's shadow his whole career. And Randy Orton, of course, he ain't going to accept this. And he's like, well, John, See, here's the difference between me and you. I've been to the very bottom and I've been to the very top. People may look at me and they may think it's a bit rich for me to say this to all people because I have been hiding behind people my whole career, but you were behind anything I was. You were handed that match with The Rock. You were handed main event after main event when I busted my ass to get there, but I was overlooked time and time again because I had to play second fiddle to John Cena, and that's not an indictment on me, that's an indictment on you. Because you were John Cena, yeah, you may have been the biggest star, but look at you now, this is what you were all the time. You were manipulative, you were trying to politic your way to the top to keep me down because you were scared. You knew that in this ring I was better than you and you didn't want to get shown up. And you're right. I may have won championships, I may have done this, that and the other, I may have been all over the world of WrestleMania. I've never won the main event of WrestleMania. And my legacy will be stopping you from making history and breaking Ric Flair's record. Because that will finally put an end to this whole thing and prove once and for all, without a shadow of a doubt, that your insecurities all these years, they were correct. And that I am just better than you. Randy Orton signs, and he walks off. He's the one who leaves. John Cena's still sat in the ring. Randy Orton is the one who walks off because he knows that at the Elimination Chamber, Cena attacked him. He doesn't want that beef again. He knows John Cena's been a bit of a dickhead recently, so he just gonna get out of the ring and avoid physical contact. And Stephanie McMahon and Eva in the ring, like, okay, John, we're done here. But Cena, he's looking visibly pissed off. Very heated segment. I actually didn't mean to do all of that here. I actually planned to do all of that dump of Expedition at a later point, but guess I've done it now. And I do really like it, and I do think it would make me want to see the match more. Like, people look, oh, it's John Cena and Randy Orton, but then you break it down like that, and it just... To me personally, because this is my generation that I grew up in, and this is their first one-on-one WrestleMania match, world title, record on the line, and then everything else I just went over. I don't want to say that it's great because I wrote it. I don't want to put myself over like that, but if this was real, I would really enjoy it, and this would get me so fucking hyped to see this match. 75. You probably did forget this because it was 2 weeks ago and they did nothing on last week, and I took that little bit of a break in between. Ricochet and Jeff Hardy are teaming tonight because Jeff Hardy beat Cedric by DQ when him and Dio Madden attacked Jeff Hardy. Then Ricochet made the save 2 weeks ago. So now they're just going to team up against the only two heel team or alliance I had available to me, which was Elias and Robert Stone. They get 75. Ricochet and Jeff Hardy beat them. Ricochet pins Stone over 630. 66 for Jeff, 78 for Ricochet, 55 for Robert Stone, and a 69 for Elias. Backstage, Eve is getting back to her office after the contract signing when Liv Morgan comes in. She's like, "Sup, Eve, I'm here, I'm ready to go. And he's like, "Excuse me, can I help you?" He's like, "Well, last week, in my tournament match to get to WrestleMania, she's really breathy, she's really, like, panicking. She's like, I couldn't carry on, but I feel better this week, so I want that match again, and I want to beat Charlotte and prove that I should be able to go to WrestleMania and get that Raw Women's title." And Eve goes, "Liv, I'm sorry, but you lost. It may have been my count out, and you may be ready to go this week, but it's over. Charlotte went through." And Liv went, no, Eve, you don't understand. I need to get this match. I need to get my shot at WrestleMania. I need my WrestleMania moment. Is there anything I can do to get back in this tournament? She's like, I guess the only option you would have is to talk to Charlotte, but she's got a match later on tonight with Kairi Sane, so I doubt she's going to give it to you, but that's your only hope. So Liv feels like she got screwed out of her spot in the tournament, and she's trying to get herself back in. Let's see how that works out for her. In a 55 rated match, because there was no storyline, Samoa Joe is here, and he squashes Jinder Mahal in 3 minutes with a coquina clutch. 74 for Joe, 53 for Jinder Mahal. After the match, Joe grabs a mic, and he says, "Well, goddamn, look who it is. no space for the Samoan submission machine on your grandest show of the year, that's fine. Because I'm gonna make my spot. And I'm the greatest man in this, the most dominant man in this business right now. And I'm going to prove that because I'm going to declare myself the first entrant in the 7th annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I'm going to win that, the spirit of Andre himself, and prove that I'm the most dominant machine and that 2021 will still be the year of Samoa Joe. He slams it down and he walks out. So this is something I did want to go over. I was waiting until somebody confirmed themselves for it. But the Battle Royals this year, I'm actually trying to pad out with interesting people. Like, normally it's like you got 1 or 2 upper mid-carders in there, and then a bunch of shit people. And with 2 nights, and I think I've done good enough that we're building enough people up to fill those 2 nights. There are still people on this card that I don't really have a use for. And I thought, hey, I might as well make this Battle Royal more interesting by putting couple. It's not just going to be Joe. There'll be other people that you'd expect higher up the card to be in this Battle Royal. So I don't want it to be looked at as, oh, they're just in the Battle Royal. I kind of want at least 5, 6, 7 big names in there to try and actually make it mean something. And it's not going to be on the kickoff this year. It's going to be on the actual main card. Because, yeah, I wanted to make the Battle Royal mean more. Haven't got room for everybody, so Samoa Joe, first entrant in the Andre Battle Royal this year. Backstage, Charlotte is being interviewed by Charlie Caruso about her match with Kairi Sane and how she's going to go to WrestleMania and win the title. When Liv comes up to her, she goes, Charlotte, hear me out, okay? You pride yourself. Your whole shtick is that you get annoyed when people say that you're the Golden Girl and that you're handed everything. So do you really want to go through this way? Do you really want to take a count-out victory over me last week? No, you don't. You know, no, Charlotte. If you want to prove that you're not what people say you are, you will face me again, and you'll give me a one-on-one fair shot to get through. And Charlotte sort of laughs and goes, well, you see, Liv, I did beat you fair and square because I was the one who stopped you from getting back into the ring. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a semi-final match to compete for. Don't take your frustrations out on me that you're just not on my level. Woo. She pats her on the head and walks off. And Liv gets really angry and stamps her feet. 87 segment. Buddy Murphy comes out. Just in like normal shirt, like a shirt, jeans, just normal clothes. He goes, so the Messiah is back, I guess. You see, last week I had Johnny Gargano beat and I was going to become the Intercontinental Champion, but the ghost from my past, he resurfaced and he stopped that from happening. And I'm not going to pretend I'm surprised, because it was inevitable. But Seth, I don't really get. I could have won that Intercontinental Championship and then you would have attacked me and you'd have got yourself a title shot, but you didn't do that. But you couldn't resist getting your hands on me, because even though you were the one who threw me around for over a year of my career I was spent being your whipping boy, and I had the nerve to fight back against you, and that was unacceptable to you for some reason. And Seth comes out and he laughs. He's like, buddy, you must be delusional, because you're coming out here, you claimed the week after you attacked me that I'd taken everything from you. You claimed that I'd made you lose everything, your identity, I took your first name away, your WWE Championship, your innocence. You claimed I took everything away from you. But here's the funny, ironic thing about that, buddy. I didn't take anything away from you. You took everything away from me. I spent a year of my life, my career, building this empire, and it could not be crumbled. We are on top of the world. My vision had taken over Monday Night Raw, and all I was doing was trying to make you fall in line for the greater good. I've said it this whole time, it was all for the greater good, buddy. But you couldn't handle that because you wanted it to all be about yourself, and you couldn't just sit there and take your lessons from me like a good student, which is what you were. and what you will always be, my understudy. Because you will forever be in my shadow, and you took everything away from me, my title. You were the one who hit me in that match at High Voltage to make me lose to Randy Orton. You've taken that away from me. You dismantled my church. I lost AOP, I lost Damian Priest, because they all went off of Johnny Gargano because you put into their head that I wasn't a good enough leader for them. You took that group away from me. So don't come out here and blame me for you having everything taken away from you, because you're the thief here. I'm the victim. But that won't be for long. Because at WrestleMania, I'm going to do more than just take your identity away, but mold you into what I thought a superstar was. From the kindness of my heart, I did that. Because you're not a superstar. At WrestleMania, you're going to be nothing more than a victim. And I'm going to take something away from you. Your livelihood. And your career. And that will be for the greater good. We then cut a commercial break, come backstage, and pick the New Day Ring Gorilla ahead of a 6-man tag match with Aussie Might. And they're talking about how Big E beat Andrade last week and how they've got one shot at WrestleMania. They're 9-time tag team champions. If they can get this done, they're going to become 10-time WWE tag team champions. And that will be certainly a new day in the tag team division. And then they go out for their tag team match. That gets an 80. Jesus Christ. Big E, Kofi, and Xavier Woods defeat Aussie Might when Big E pins Shane Thorne at the big ending. 66 for Woods, 69 for Kofi, 86 for Big E, 76 for Bronson Reed, 57 for Shane Thorne, and a 48 for Brendan Fink. After the match, New Day are celebrating when Zelina comes out onto the ramp with her boys. And she's like, I'm tired of it. Congratulations, E. Yes, you beat Andrade last week. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the New Day. I'm tired of you running your mouth. 10-time tag team champions you want to become at WrestleMania. That's quite the feat. But here's the catch. I will accept this match. You three versus my three boys. 6-man tag team match for the tag team championships. On one caveat. You win. You boys win. Congratulations, you're the 10-time tag team champions. But if my boys win, this whole New Day thing, done. You either become 10-time tag team champions at WrestleMania, or you're done. What do you say to that, boys? And they look at each other, they sort of ponder, and Biggie takes them away, like, these are my brothers, and I can't imagine a world where we're not a team anymore. But you're damn fool if we're going to back down from a challenge like that. You're on. So additional stakes have been added to this match at WrestleMania. Vega Mafia, all three of them, Andrade, Escobar, and Scott against the New Day. And if New Day doesn't win, they're done. There we go. The game had the nerve to tell me, oh, this is the 4th time this match has happened recently. It might be a bit shit. 80. Sonya Deville beats Asuka in 12-12 by pinfall to advance to the final of the Raw Women's Championship tournament. Sonya gets a 66 and a 76 for Asuka. Yeah, that's pretty fucking sick if I do say so myself. Backstage, Miz and Morrison they've got like a clipboard, because last week they become the host of WrestleMania. Like, here it is, John, we've got to get everything on this list to make this a truly Hollywood WrestleMania. I can get on the phone with my agents, I can get some Hollywood connections. We need to get some of the biggest stars in wrestling and in Hollywood all in the same building that night. And it was like, I'll get all sorts of entertainment set up, I'll get the food, I'll get everything, Miz, don't worry about me, we're going to smash this, we're going to knock this out of the park. And then J-Flo come up to them and like, yeah, WrestleMania, woo. And Miz is like, what are you doing here? It's like, we're coming to help set up the host of WrestleMania party. Miz is like, you're not invited. You're not the host for WrestleMania. You messed up. You don't get away with messing up my envelope. Me and John, we became the hosts last week. My first port of call, you five are banned. You're not coming. You're not going to be at WrestleMania. And then Mackie gets all pouty and gets him into his face. Just... and they walk off. So there's still a little bit of difference between J-Flo, Miz and Morrison, because I think it's a funny dynamic, and that will continue. Okay. None of this is correct. Apparently I set Charlotte to win. I was wondering why she wasn't complaining. Ignore that. So, 82. Kyrie actually beats Charlotte thanks to Liv Morgan interfering and costing Charlotte the match, because she's obviously taken a bit of an issue with what Charlotte said backstage. And yeah, now Charlotte's not going to WrestleMania either. Too bad. The finals will be Kairi Sane versus Sonya Deville. And the winner of that will go to WrestleMania to face Io Shirai for the Raw Women's Championship. 79 for Charlotte, 69 for Kairi. Now this is the segment you've all been waiting for. You see Cameron come up on your screen, you know what is happening. A limousine pulls up backstage, and out steps Cameron Grimes. Because of course he does. Because he's been, just like real life, he's a very rich man right now. Because he's been doing his stock exchanges, he's been doing his GameStop stock. But he's not alone. He has a partner in all this. A very appropriate partner in Bo Dallas. Being, of course, the son of a taxman. And he's going to hold Grimes' briefcase full of money and just be his douchey comedy tag team partner in what I'm calling the stock exchange. Because Stonks Grimes is here and you can all kiss his grits. Here's a big segment. Gargano and The Way come out. And it's basically Gargano is bragging about beating Murphy last week and how there's no challenges left for me because I'm the best. And he's like, whoever wants to come out next, come on. And then no music plays. He's like, see, I told you, I've beaten everybody there is to beat. I'm the greatest here on Raw because I'm going to hold this championship as long as I damn well please with AOP and Priest by my side. And that's when, from behind, you slowly see, like some sort of, like he's on a stealth mission on a video game. Damian Priest, he silently lays out Razor without getting noticed. Akam notices him right at the end, and then he charges at Priest. And he gets laid out as well. Gargano is still talking, brabbling on a load of dickhead bullshit. He's looking at the entrance ramp. Priest is behind him, just beating up AOP. And he's like, see, there's nobody on Raw that thinks they can take it to me. And then Priest just sort of stands behind Gargano, listening to what he's saying, like very sarcastically. And Candice and Ruby notice this, and they start tapping him on the shoulder, going, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny. He's like, what, Candice? What is it? She sort of points behind him, and he turns around, and Priest's there, and he just smiles at Gargano, and he's like, what is it, Candice? Yes, Damien's here. What about it? Then boom, Gargano's like that with a big boot, and the reckoning to the Intercontinental Champion. And then he picks up the title. He crouches over Gargano, picks up the mic. He says, "Hey Johnny, got this title for as long as you please. Hey, as long as you've got me by your side. Well, I say it's time for you to let that go. See you at WrestleMania." And Damian Priest, he shoots an arrow to the sky. And yeah, he's turned on Gargano. Probably expected, but he's done it. And WrestleMania seems to be in his future. 77. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus have a fight from their Cesaro took them to the pub last week to settle their differences, and then they had miscommunication against Miz and Morrison, so I guess the next best step is to settle it in a wrestling match. Cesaro's at ringside, and goes 12-38. Drew wins by DQ. Sheamus goes into doesn't stop the attack after the 5 count, that finish. When after the match, Sheamus is still trying to hammer away on Drew. Cesaro gets into the ring, he pulls him off, and he's like, "What you doing, mate? This ain't you're trying to ruin this friendship." He's like, "I don't care, fella. He needs to learn his lesson." And then Cesaro shoves Sheamus to the floor. And then Sheamus gets into Cesaro's face, but then Drew McIntyre gets up, he goes for a Claymore. And of course Sheamus ducks. And Cesaro takes it on the chin. That good old trope. And Drew McIntyre looks shocked that he's accidentally kicked his actual friend in the face as Sheamus scurries away, knowing that that was meant for him.
You got me feeling diamond rich. Nothing on this planet compares to it. Don't you agree? Who needs to go to sleep when I got you next to me? All night I ride with you. I know you got my back and you know I got you. So come on, lights out, follow the noise. Baby, keep on dancing like you ain't got a choice. So come on, come on, come on, let's get physical. Adrenaline keeps on.
This segment is very bizarre. We get a recap of Black and Oney last week that ended in no DQ when the lights went off and the Purge disappeared. We then cut to Alistair, Dexter, and Killian Dane, and they're like in this black room, like just wandering around. They can't really see anything. They're like, Alistair's like, "Well, I don't know where we are, boys, but this is certainly something for Bray Wyatt's doing." And they're sort of just fumbling around looking for something. They can, in the distance, they can hear like laughter and kids cheering. And they keep walking through the dark. Black's trying to feel his way around. And he feels around, he can feel like a door handle. And he's like, "Okay, well there's a door here, so I say we go through it, we may as well." And when he goes through it, he sticks his head through the door, and guess where he is? There's an episode of the Firefly Funhouse going on, and Bray Wyatt's there. And he's like, "Oh, look who it is, kids. Yowie wowie. It's Alistair Black." I'm like, "Yay!" I'm like, "Well, listen here, Alistair. We haven't got time to speak to you today because the show's almost over, but you just need to remember, he will always be watching. He remembers what you did to me. And maybe he'll pay you a visit during his own time, but for now you must leave." And he laughs. He's like, "Yeah, bye." And then Alistair shuts the door, and that's the end of the segment. So he was transported to Firefly Funhouse world. Very hokey, very silly, but why not? We'll do something like this. Quick video highlighting Christian, because he's in action in our actual main event next, because the main event is technically not a match. And we're going to show his career off before his match with Kevin Owens. That match gets an 80. I'm really impressed with Christian hanging for 15 minutes 25. But Kevin Owens has beat him with a pop-up powerbomb in 15:25. Because Everrise bullshit. 86 for Kevin Owens and a 65 for Christian, which is actually not bad considering he's a retired wrestler in this game. And then after the match, Kevin Owens, he orders Matt Martell and Chase Parker to continue the assault on Christian. And he's going to deliver a big apron powerbomb to Christian. When You Think You Know Me, Edge comes out. He orders, just like he did with Christian last week, he orders Everrise to go and meet him on the ramp and stop him. They both get speared because they are the comedy goofs. And Kevin Owens runs away through the crowd as Edge and Christian hug at ringside. Because we didn't get that spot of the Royal Rumble in this game, and we're doing it here because it has to happen. And Edge grabs a mic and he challenges Kevin Owens for a match at WrestleMania. Ba-da-da-da. And that we'd put the show closing graphic up there because the actual main event is Otis and Ali unsanctioned. But we're gonna present that as an actual unsanctioned match. Gets a 76. Ali wins it in 14:20 by stoppage when Otis couldn't continue because I don't really want to do pinfalls. It just gets waved off whenever Ali feels like it, I guess. And Dabakato, Kushida, and Mia Yim are out there attacking Otis as well. 75 for Ali and a 77 for Otis. And then we do get one last segment. Because in 83, I was worried about how good this was going to do. But it is a very big segment. Dabakato and Mustafa Ali and Kushida continue to attack Otis. And they're like, oh, come on, the match is over, Ali, come on, you can leave now. He's like, oh, I'm just letting him know, sending him a message, I'm just letting him know that you can't get away with insulting me like that. And he gets laid out onto the stage when the EMTs, referees, and road agents come out. Jamie Noble's there. Mark Henry comes out, specifically Mark Henry, because I want Dabakato to lay him out, because that would look impressive. But basically, they just beat out the road agents and the referees as well. And no one can control this madness. When Stephanie McMahon comes down, she's like, you better fuck off my show right now. And he's like, oh, look who it is. It's the scary Stephanie McMahon. But here's the thing, she has no power, Mia. Because we don't work here. So what you gonna do, fire us? She's already done that. So what are you gonna do, Steph? What are you gonna do, slap me? Where? And then Steph realizes, he's like, oh, he's actually right. And then Mia Yim takes Stephanie down and she hits Stephanie with some finisher. Whatever Mia Yim's finisher is. Is it like a knee or enziguri or something? Some sort of kick, I'm assuming. And then once Stephanie's been laid out, that's when Ali's like, I think our business is done here. We'll leave the show. This is but it's a gathering of bodies, road agents and referees, and Stephanie and Otis. And the message leave through the crowd as the show goes off the air. Very hot angle to win the show. 85. I thought this show was fucking fantastic, personally, if I do say so myself. But that's more than what the game says and what I say is what you thought of the show. So let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for 114, which will be SmackDown. See you then.